Yo, what's good YouTube? So in today's video, we got a settings video for you guys. I'm going to be going over my settings and then also like settings that I would recommend or like different settings that you could choose if you don't like the options that I'm telling you, like the ones that I have. I'll give you some other options that you could try out. And I'm going to have some like tips just scattered in, like for sensitivity. I'll have like a couple tips about aiming or something, just like stuff that I've learned that you might find useful. So yeah, let's get started with the gameplay settings. Alright, so in gameplay, interact prompt style, you want to have this on compact. If it's on default, and there's a big rectangle in your way, and then it's impossible to see in front of you or like look if you're trying to hit fire someone or shoot them, you can't see anything. But if you have it on compact, way easier to see. Blocks barely any of your vision and you can still shoot at people. Button hints, this is personal preference. I have them on just so like people know I'm on MK for YouTube and stuff, but you could have them off if you wanted to. It's a little less visual clutter. You might think it looks cleaner. Yeah, that one's just personal preference, whatever you want to do. Crosshair damage feedback. Crosshair damage feedback. I'm actually trying this one out on X. Which just means you have an X when you're shooting at people. I don't know if I'm gonna like this better or not. I'm trying that one out. Normally I have it on off, but I'm trying out X. I'd also do X with shield icon, but you already can see the damage number color, so there's like no need to have it on shield icon. So either X or off is what I would do. Off if you want less visual clutter, and then X just if you like X, you know? I also feel like it might give you an advantage because like it's easier to tell like when your crosshairs, you know, like when it's centered on the enemy. So that's the reason I'm trying it out. But damage numbers, I would have this on stacking. Off just means you don't know how much damage you're hitting the player for. Stacking is if I hit a guy for 150, it's gonna say 150 just there. Floating just means I have to add up the numbers on my own. You see that? And then both just means you have both flat, floating, and stacking, which is a lot of visual. I would either do stacking or floating. I would not do off or both, but I have it on stacking. Ping opacity, this just means that your ping is faded sometimes, or it's like transparent, faded. And then default is it's like fully there, like no matter what, or for most of the time. So that one's just personal preference. I just have always leave it on faded, but I've noticed that when I'm like looking at like enemies, or not enemies, like my teammates' pings, like sometimes I can't see it. So I'm actually gonna put that on default. Obituaries, this is your kill feed. I would have that on. I don't think there's a reason to turn that off. Minimap rotation, personal preference. I don't like it on, but if you want to have it on, you can. Weapon auto cycle on empty. This one I would highly recommend having on off, because if you're shooting someone, once your clip gets to 0, it's going to automatically cycle to your havoc, you know? But what happens if like you don't want it to cycle to your havoc and you want to just reload the volt? So you don't have as much control if you put that setting on. So that's why I would recommend having that on off. Always sprint. This is personal preference. I have it off. This basically just means auto sprint. So if you have it on, you just have to press W to run. And then if you have it off, and you press W, it doesn't do anything until you press your sprint key. Sprint control, I have it on press. Auto run is also on off. Jetpack control, this is only for Valkyrie. This just means that when you're using the jetpack, you have to hold your jump button instead of just toggling it. This is personal preference again, but I like toggle. It's the same with like toggle crouch, you know? Like the same premise. Incoming damage feedback. There's 2D, 3D, and then there's both. There's also a way to turn it off, but you have to go like into the config files to do that, so. But I have it on 2D. That just means, wait, let me pull up the dummies real quick. That just means when I'm getting shot at, I have like the half semicircle thing. Yeah, then if I have it on 3D, that just means there's like an actual 3D arrow for it. So that one, you know, personal preference. You can also have both, but that's like way too much visual clutter in my opinion. I would either do 2D or 3D, but I use 2D. Taking damage closes death box or crafting menu. Are my button hits off? This one is just like when you're looting a death box, if you're getting shot at, it's gonna just close the death box. So if you're trying to get an armor swap and then you get shot at, it's gonna close it and prevent you from getting the armor swap. So that's why I would recommend having this one on off. This is probably like the #1 thing you want to turn off, no matter what. Off-screen portraits. This one's just like it just shows your teammates. It shows their name and then like a little like picture with their legends. So I just have it on off. Pop up. This one just means, go get a turbo real quick. This one just means when you pull out like a gun with a hop up, it's gonna show you turbocharger. So I'm just gonna show you the turbocharger and like what it does. So yeah, that one I already know all the hop ups, so I don't even need to use that one. Streamer mode, I have it on off. Anonymous mode, I have enabled just because. Then usage sharing disabled, performance display on. This shows your FPS in the top right, your ping, your ID, your packet loss. It shows you all that stuff. So personally, I have that one on, but you could turn it off if you don't want it there. But I mean, I don't know. I can't even really tell it's on when I'm not looking at it. Communication filters on everybody, and then the reticle 255, 255, 255. Which means like my in-game reticle is white, as you can see. Then there's like a green overlay, which is, it's green, but then it has a black outline. So it's way easier, in my opinion, to aim and track people. I'll leave a link to the video that I used to install the overlay, because it's actually really easy. You can like customize whatever overlay you want. You can customize size, position, all that stuff. So I'll leave that down in the description if you guys want to look at that. And then laser sight is just green. Let me get a laser sight and I'll show you. It's just green, neon. And then the only other thing in the gameplay is Trinopia, which I have, or not Trinopia, bro. Colorblind mode, which is on Trinopia. I would either use Trinopia or Protanopia. However you say this one. Either the second one or the fourth one. I personally think this one's better. Like, the game looks a little better, but then the inventory, just like, when it's on off, bro, it looks so dark and like, just, it looks like you're on console, bro. It looks so weird. I don't like it. So I just have it on Trinopia. I've been using this since I downloaded the game. Literally, like, this is one of the first settings I changed. So yeah, that's all for gameplay. Let's move on to mouse and keyboard. So first off, my DPI on my mouse is 1600. And I play 0.68 mouse sensitivity, and then for ADS it's 0.9. So it's like, it's pretty slow. It's not a super fast sense. But then I also I'll play 0.7 if I want something faster. Still same ADS, just up it up to 0.7. Yeah, I feel like I've been running 0.6 a lot in ranked, especially just because it's way easier to aim on like a slower sense, you know. But yeah, I also use 0.7. And then just same 0.9 ADS. Then mouse acceleration, make sure you have this off. Mouse invert off. My mouse cursor to game window is on. And then that just means like my mouse can't go off onto my other monitor. It stays on here so I don't accidentally alt tab. Then the lighting effects are for your mouse and keyboard. I just have them off. Alright, so now like a tip about like aiming, which I figured out, especially on mouse and keyboard. Some of you might know this, but like if you just like anti-mirror, like mirroring, like anti-mirroring strafe, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. You just go in the opposite direction that your enemy's like, that your enemy's strafing, and it's so much easier to aim. Like a lot of the tracking is done for you then, you know? All you gotta do is the second they change direction, you just press A, B, A, even when hip firing you can do it. And it just makes like shooting way easier. Especially like close range. Like, even when you're lurching on someone, you can still do that. You can still change your direction while lurching as they change their direction, you know? Like, just stuff like that. It makes it so much easier to aim. So, yeah, I've been trying to implement that in the fights a lot more. It's like my M and K aim used to be really bad, but now it's like, it's actually like kind of good. So yeah, just like try to do that. Like just while you're, especially if you use like R5, just while you're training, just constantly keep that in your head, you know. Yeah, let's go back to the settings. So I use WASD to move, and then scroll wheel down to tap strafe. So whenever I'm tap strafing, pull down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Always on scroll down. You can also use scroll up. It doesn't matter. It's literally just whatever one you like best. Shift to sprint. Space is on jump, and then I use scroll up to jump. O is to toggle crouch, but that's like I barely ever use that. And control is hold, and then C is also hold. And C is used obviously for super glides. I could hit one. Yeah, I use C for super glides. Then bunny hops, you just scroll up. Also use like scroll up for whatchamacallit, super jumps. If you guys want a movement tutorial, I could probably make one of those low-key. So if you guys want a movement tutorial, like up the video. I'll think about doing one of those. Yeah, let's get back to the a little sidetrack. Tactical is on Q. If I have my tactical, yeah, tactical on Q. Ultimate is on my 4th mouse button, which is the one closest to my palm, so the bottom one. In the front, or like the back one. The back one's probably a better word for it. The back one is what I use for ult. E is to interact. You could also use F if you really wanted to. Like if you came from a game that had F to interact, you could use that. X is my alternate interact, but I barely ever use this. This is just if you already have like the attachment you're trying to pick up, then you just use, maybe it's scopes. Yeah. If you want to pick up like a scope, instead of like changing this 1 or 2 to the 3 or 4, you would press X, and then it's in your inventory. But I barely ever use that, so it doesn't even matter. Tab is map. Or no, wait. Inventory is on my 5th mouse button, which is the top one, or the front one. I saw Fade using this like a while ago, so I switched to it. Just because that means you can use full WASD while you're in an inventory, and you can close it without having to take your fingers off, take your keyboard fingers. Everything's in your mouse. So that's why I switched to that. It feels really good. If you're on mouse and keyboard, I would highly recommend doing that, especially if you have like a free mouse button. Tab is my map, which it'll just bring up this. That would be the map. Attack is on left click. So shooting. All left click. B to toggle fire mode, and then I don't use toggle ADS, I just use hold. That's right click. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using toggle ADS, but personally, I don't really like the way it feels. Like, if you're trying to, like, really maximize your M&K aim, you could use it. And, like, use the space to shoot and all that. But, melee is on F. It's just, I think that's default, maybe. I don't even know. People are saying, like, V is default for melee, but that's, I don't like it. I've always used F for melee, so that's just what I'm using. R to reload, cycle weapons is blank. Weapon 1 is on 1, weapon 2 is on 2, holster is on 3, grenade is on G, survival item is on T. And then I just recently actually started using like independent binds for all the heals. Like, I don't use the heal wheel anymore. So yeah, and my binds for that, this is what I have right now. I might change some of these though, but definitely like the shield cell and shield battery. Yeah, so 4, that's what I used to use for heal wheel, is just my battery. 5 is a cell. 1 is syringe, and then, yeah, 6 is medkit. I couldn't really think, like, these 2 were easy to get, but I don't really know what to do for the health ones, so I just put them on this. I might change them, but for right now, F1 for syringe, 6 is medkit, 5 is cell, and 4 is battery. Definitely the 4 and 5 ones, like, they feel good. It's so much easier to, like, pop a bat. Like, you can pop it way quicker with these binds instead of, like, using the heal wheel, you know? H is character utility action, and then B is to inspect. N is to ping, and then this is going to be on Y. I used to use F1 for this, but I changed it to syringe, so that's Y now. Push to talk is on middle mouse click, and enters the chat. That's basically everything for MNK. Now let's go on to the video. I've changed some stuff in the video settings. So full screen, obviously. I wouldn't run like windowed or borderless. And then aspect ratio 16:10. But then my res, I've changed to 2 different reses, to be honest. Like, I'm on 1600 and 1024 right now, but I used to use like 1680 by 1058 or something like that. And before that, I used to do 1728 by 1080, but I brought it down to 1600 by 1024. I saw someone using this, I forget who. But I don't know, it feels really good. It's a little bit more stretchy than like 1728 by 1080. Do you have to, like, there's a black bars unless you do like the auto exec thingy or whatever it is. Which I'll leave a video to that too, just so you guys have that. Yeah, it feels really good. It's just a little more stretched than normal. I don't know, I like the way it feels. So I've been running it. It's only like my 3rd day on it, so. FOV 110. I don't use 120, but you could if you wanted to. I'll link a video to 120 FOV too. I don't know if it still works. FOV ability scaling on disabled, and sprint view shake on minimal. VSync, make sure you have this disabled. Do not be running VSync. Video reflex, enabled plus boost. If you're on like a not too great of a PC, maybe you try enabled, but I would really recommend enabled plus boost, to be honest. Make sure you have this on 0. And disable this too. Anti-aliasing, you could turn this on, but to be honest, like when I turn it on, I don't know if you can see it in like the video, but in like my monitor, it makes it so unbelievably blurry, bro. Like I don't know how people shoot when their game looks like this. Like how do you even see? Unless like you have a really high resolution, I don't like even think this is worth using, to be honest. Like I don't know how people play on that. Like this just looks so much cleaner. Even though there's like jagged edges, you don't like it's. I used to play on TSA like when I first downloaded the game, and then I saw fade was on off, so I tried it in the game. Like after like a week or 2 of using it, the game just looks so much better once you get used to it, man. I would highly recommend using it or turning it off. I mean. And texture filtering, I have it on 2x. I'm just trying out these settings because I feel like it does make my game look a lot better. But just a real quick editor's note here. You want to have all of the video settings all the way like far left as far as they can go, except for the texture streaming budget, which I would either do like anywhere between 2 and 4 is pretty good. If you can run 4, then do 4 if you want to do 2. You can also do 0, which is what I have in the video right here. I don't know if I'll talk about it or not, but you could also do 0. It makes your graphics look like a potato, but you might like it, so you can test that out. But yeah, back to the video. Audio, 100%. This is the push to talk. Incoming voice volume is on 100. Sound effects are on 100. Dialogue is on 5. Both the musics are on 0. And then gameplay volume while spectating, it's either on 50% or 0. Just depends. I usually don't use the requeue feature, so I just leave it on 50. So if I'm spectating teammates, I can like hear and shit. So emote preview sounds, I have that on. That's just like you can read it up there. Allows emote sound effects to play while previewing in lobby. I just have it on. Sound and background I have off. So yeah, I mean that's all the settings. And then if you want me to do a movement guide, like let me know down below and might do one eventually. Yeah, peace.